Hello, welcome to Court of the Rings on twitch.tv/LutraStream. I'm your community manager, Kurt Oven, and I'm going to be doing a whole bunch of questing today. I have got some leveling to do. I have got some Song of Waves and Wind to quest through, and I've got a little bit of news as well because we are on track to release Update 39, Arenas of Conflict, next week to the live game worlds. The Spring Festival also starts. And we'll have release notes and downtime and a whole bunch next week as well. We do have new rewards for the Spring Festival, and we've got a community meetup happening towards the end of the month and a whole bunch more. So I'll talk a little bit about the bonuses, the news, then we'll head in game and do some questing here. Min Data Pack, who is having an account issue. I can't ultimately deal with account questions like that live on the air here, but if you say you've submitted a ticket to customer support, make sure it's sent to account support. They should be able to get back to you at their earliest possible time when they get to your ticket and the order received. Not March 12th. I know we've said some things that let you think it might be March 12th in terms of when Update 39 releases next week, but the actual answer is March 13th. That's actually one of the tasks I have today is I'm going to be changing a few dates around for the start of the Spring Festival and that. We need one more day for the build to build. That's what's going on. So, currently, Update 39, Arenas of Conflict, is set to arrive on Wednesday, March 13th. And that's also when the Spring Festival will arrive. Starting, well, when we come back up from our downtime on Wednesday. Technically, I suppose, starting at 10 a.m. Eastern if we weren't down then. And running through April 1st. It'll be shut off at 3 a.m. Eastern on April 2nd. So the Spring Festival starts on Wednesday, the 13th. Assuming that Update 39 goes live then, and all indications are it will. So it'll start next Wednesday and go through April 1st, being shut off at 3 a.m. Eastern on the 2nd for the Spring Festival. We also have the Forester Crafting event is returning on Wednesday, and that Thursday we start with a 25% skirmish mark boost. And what else do we got going on? Like right now, we have a VIP event boost going through Sunday. So VIPs will be getting the full event boost through Sunday. Good chance to level up a little bit before Update 39 hits. Also, this is the final weekend for the Curator in-game. So if you got some stuff you want to pick up from the Curator, you have through March 10th to do that as well. Let me change cameras. And I really wanted to call this out in terms of news. So I talked a little bit about Update 39. I'm sure we'll talk a little bit more about that later on in the show. I don't have release notes for you today. Some things are still in process, and so they're just not ready to put up on the screen yet for you. They're very similar to what you've seen on Bull Roar. We do have a little bit of additional work that has gone in since the final Bull Roar preview, so there are going to be a few notes that didn't make it into the Bull Roar previews, but for the most part, what you've seen on Bull Roar is Update 39, and that is the 3 new instances and the raid. We have 2 3-person, 1 6-person, and a raid coming here next week. This is for everyone who has Corsairs of Umbar. So as long as you've got at least the base edition of Corsairs of Umbar, you'll be able to run this content. You do have to be level 150 in order to access the new instances. Something to be aware of. So if you're like me and you're only 146, you got some leveling to do before you can run these things. But that's that. Oh, that's not even the right... I didn't even put up the right... bonus. Let's try this. Okay, that didn't work. Let's try this. There we are. That's what I wanted to put up on the screen. Just this week, as promised, we have opened up RSVPs for our Thursday, March 21st community meetup at the Harpoon Brewery in downtown Boston. It's located near the convention center. PAX East will be going on then. That'll be the first day of PAX East. You don't need a PAX East ticket to attend the meetup, but you do need to RSVP. We do have a limit on the space. We're hanging out with our friends at Dungeons and Dragons Online, EverQuest, and EverQuest 2. This is a combo meetup between Standing Stone Games and Darkpaw Games, they who do EverQuest 1 and 2. As a result of teaming up here with Daybreak's help, we're able to get a bigger venue and a bigger party. So it's going to be a really fun time. Thursday, 7 to 11 p.m. Eastern. If you happen to be in the Boston area or think you might want to hang out with other Lotro players, pick up some swag, then RSVP to this event. You do have to be 21 in order to enter the venue. This isn't anything we have control over. It's just Massachusetts state law related to the fact that it is a brewery. You will get 2 free drink tickets. And otherwise, it's on your own. We're going to have some food there as well, kind of typical sort of community meetup style snacky food. We'll have, we've placed an order yesterday for like a couple different kinds of pizza, both cheese, pepperoni, gluten-free of same, and some other kind of special dietary consideration pizzas as well. We also have, I think, some salad. We're going to have buffalo chicken bites, and we're going to have mac and cheese bites, and I think a few other little bits and bobs as well. So that'll be the kind of food that'll be at the event, and then we're going to have some swag and some good times. So, RSVP if you want to, if you think you'll be in the area. Should be a good time. I'm really looking forward to it. That's not next week, but that's the week after. Otherwise, I would just, let's see, I talked about the Spring Festival, the start of Update 39, the VIP event boost, the eye level caps going up to 520 also on the 13th. That was originally mentioned as being March 12th, but that is now March 13th as well. I guess the other last thing I would say for a bit before I move on, is we have a pretty good weekly coupon this week. We do a freebie every Thursday with our sales, and the freebie this time is free XP. A Tome of Compressed Experience with the coupon code BONUSXP. So, kind of no reason not to use it if you got some leveling you want to do, especially if you want to hit 150 in time for the release of the new instances. One thing I could do real quick before I talk a little bit more about the Spring Festival and show you a few things is I can talk a little bit about our release plans for like the tiers for the instances and raid. So Streets of Rahal Bak, Isle of Storms, Dahal Hulas, the arena, are going to be opening through Tier 3 difficulty. They will unlock through Tier 5 difficulty on March 21st at noon Eastern. The raid, The Depths of Makta Korbo, will debut at Tier 1 difficulty and will unlock through Tier 3 difficulty also at noon Eastern on March 21st. The Leading the Charge deeds for the instances and raid will be all at the same time available to complete until 3 a.m. Eastern on June 6th. So you have through June 5th in order to get your Leading the Charge deeds for these new instances and raid. They're debuting on Tier 3 for the instances, Tier 1 for the raid, and they all bump up on March 21st. The other big thing in Update 39 worth mentioning is that we are adding 71 missions available as delvings in the Elder Slade. So this is all the stuff in the Anak Corfu War Room, minus, I think, 9, which didn't make sense to delvingify because of the whatever special considerations are in that instance didn't make sense to turn it into a delving. But all the ones that could be turned into a delving have been turned into a delving. And this is with the Elder Slade. You won't need Corsairs of Umbar for that. You just need to be able to get to the War Room of Anak Corfu and speak to Ausma and Horan to get started there. If you're not familiar with delvings, we do have an introduction to delvings on Lotro.com as well. No, sorry, Martiner. The music scores, the score sheets, are not actually available to be found online. We have a few little bits that we've released over the years, and players have put together a few score sheets for music over the years as well, but it's not something that we've been able to do. Maybe someday, but generally the way it's written means that the composer would have to do some work to turn it into a score sheet that could be read by a musician. Music, though, is all up on our YouTube channel. I don't have pictures of the updated stats on the Naruhel cloaks for the Spring Festival, but what I do have is a list of the new rewards and a couple of pictures to go along with it. So let's bring up. There we go. This is the garments of the purple curl. It includes a boots, helmet, shoulder guards, tunic, and leggings. And I think that's. We also have like accessories, the comparison, headpiece, Warsteed cosmetics, and what have you. So there's that one. Let me have another. Here we go. This is the front of that one. You can see the front of the garments of the perfect curl here. These are all new rewards that are going to the Spring Festival barter next week. All right, let me find. This is the steed. You can see the steed there. Greenish for spring. And then with the Spring Festivity Barter, you will have the opportunity to get a Tome of the Perfect Curl Garden Snail. And that is this little thingamabob right there. And how cute is that, huh? But wait, you can also be like, well, of course I want a garden snail, but what's it going to eat? Well, it can eat this herb patch, which is also available. This is not with the festivity barter. That's on the regular Spring Festival barter, the herb patch. So the snails with the festivity barter, the other rewards are with the festival barter. So that's what I do have for you. I don't have the stats, but I do have the pics for that. Let me see what else we got. Oh, was the bar chosen for having a name that subtly nods toward the Mariner class, or are all the venues in Boston named that way? They're kind of all named that way, but also that was just luck. Harpoon Brewery is a big brewery in the United States. They sell a lot of beer, and they've got a big venue by the convention center. So that's really ultimately why I think we picked them, as they were a pretty cool venue to have a big event like this. But otherwise, it was just coincidence in terms of the name. There's actually a Green Dragon pub downtown in Boston that we went to one year, and that was really cool too. But yeah, the old bars in Boston have got cool names for sure. All right. Anyone having trouble logging on? No, although I'm sorry that you're running into an issue. One last thing about the Dave Grohl book. I purchased that book thanks to you. I was at the airport recently, had a 2.5 hour layover in Chicago. And I was like, well, what am I going to do now? So I went and saw Dave Grohl's book, and I was like, well, let's read about this guy. Not that I don't know him a little bit from my music nerdery. But I thought it might be fun. But I did actually purchase the book because of everyone telling me I look like him. The official release date for Update 39 is intended to be March 13th. Assuming everything works out in the next 48 hours or so, we'll actually hit that date. So. Soundtracks on YouTube are being interrupted by advertising. Is that intended? That is not something that we have control over. That is YouTube making its own decisions related to advertising. We are not monetized on YouTube whatsoever. We get no cut of anything you watch on YouTube. We're not affiliated. We don't do any of that stuff. So it's just going to be whatever the default YouTube behavior is. So they probably are going to drop advertising into videos just like they normally would. I pay for YouTube Premium, so I don't get that. But that's just me. It is annoying, though. I'm not a fan of having my tracks. That's the reason I don't use Spotify, really, either. I can't stand all the mid-roll ads. I could pay for that as well, but I don't. It's true. Remember, the U.S. clocks changed this weekend, but the rest of the world, Europe in particular, does not change until the end of the month. So we're in that couple of week time period where we're technically going to be on GMT -4, but Europe will be on daylight saving time for a little while, or no, we'll be on standard time for a little while longer before they move to saving time. I think I got that right. Yes, Salvage. I mentioned this a little bit last week when talking about lag, but game performance remains a top priority for us. It will be a never-ending battle to some extent. And we are working on game performance as best as we can. All right. What else do I have? I showed off the picks, so let's head in game here. So, off camera, I did a bunch of questing throughout the city of Umbar, ran around the city, did a bunch of quests for the group. We went to a pirate ship instance at the end, and I have freed Corridon from pirates. And now we are ready to... We're in an amphitheater east of the city.
I still cannot believe it.
And we're ready to start chapter 6.7. Actually, I believe we're continuing 6.7. And we've been able to free one of the people there. And so that's awesome.
Many months and more miles have passed since I saw you last at Helm's Deep in Rohan.
Do we know how Leafshade fared after he went away? You say, as far as we know, the Ent remains in good health and spirits. He's glad about that. Where are our other friends? What do we want to tell Corridon?
Why do you hesitate, my friend? What has happened?
Horn passed away before the walls of Minas Tirith during the Battle of Pelennor Fields. The elf remains silent for a long moment. When he speaks, his voice is choked with emotion. Horn always possessed more courage than he believed himself to have, Stampion. I hope Nona holds his memory dear. I know I will. We tell Corridon that Gleowen did intend to include Horn in the song he composed, and the elf smiles. After a moment, Sigilith speaks up. Yo, we got stuff to do. My purpose for joining this adventure has now been satisfied, but I won't have it be said I abandoned the mission half done. My brother has been rescued, as I knew he would be, but they still hold the young heir to Pinnith Gellin captive.
I and my brother will stand with you to rescue Thorongil.
All right.
I will stand with you.
He was not mistreated by the Kindred of the Coins, despite Nakashi's words and her frequent promises to exact revenge on any who aid Gondor. He was able to walk freely around the ship. The Kindred of the Coins value their captives only for so long as they retain value. Had I proven a burden, I think I would not have survived the voyage. It may be the same with Thorongil. If he loses his value as a hostage, he won't long survive. He was brought to Azagoth Sea Shadow in the Citadel of Winds, from where the Kindred rule the city. How are we going to get in there?
When my brother and I returned to Umbar, his plan had been for us to visit some other taverns.
Gonna head into some taverns and see what we can pick up in terms of scuttlebutt about what we ought do. It looks like we're heading into the city that way. me see. Where am I headed? I am headed. Actually, want to go down Lisa way. Yeah, this will bring me into town. Yes, I just hit 146. By the way, I hadn't done it in a while. I used my wallet perks to get some accelerated experience there. As you can see, I had a whole bunch that I hadn't done in a while. So if you're looking to level up quick, maybe you too are in that position where you can be like, oh yeah, those things. That'll be useful. So I actually pay for YouTube Premium, and I know that's, some people are like, what? But I do, and the reason I do is when my son was a very little kid, like his entire generation has, they are just YouTube obsessed. You know, like it or not, YouTube is their network television. No question about it. And so at an early age, when he was kind of a baby looking at the tablet watching YouTube videos on long road trips, I was like, you know, if I paid that, whatever it is, 12 bucks a month or whatever, the amount of advertising that my child will not be exposed to over the course of his lifetime is pretty significant. And as a result, I was willing to do that and just keep paying for it. And I think if you look, how many ads has he not seen over the past decade plus because I subscribe to YouTube Premium? It's a lot. It also helps out the content creators that you happen to watch, you know, whether you subscribe to them or support their Patreon or what have you. That's all good, but if you don't want to do that, YouTube Premium actually allocates about 50% of that money that's then distributed to the channel, the affiliates of the people you watch. So if you have someone who's making trying to make money on YouTube, and you watch their videos with YouTube Premium, they get a couple pennies. And so between that and the advertising, I have found it to be well worth doing rather than, say, ad blockers or something like that. No one has seen Tumuldo Fierce Water in weeks. Even Thata the Beast is missing.
The Hungry Deep Tavern is the finest in the city, if you ask me.
The kindred of the coins mean well. If you ask me, they've done right by us, but I think they keep secrets from us all the same. 7 of them there are, but there have been turnover among their ranks. Some say Guildmaster Emilka was in league with the heirs of Castamere, and Tathata was right to replace her in the kindred. But I don't know. There was also a scholar. Whatever happened to him? He ruled in the Tor Gardens, but now he's gone, and that half-troll Rothog has his place. Maybe I should stop talking. Find the Welk and Cackle Tavern. Okay. So that is off to the west here. I just want to say, if you haven't played it yet, that, how do I get there? Okay, must be down this way. The instance where you're fighting on the pirate ship and freeing Corridon was pretty hot. It was pretty cool. I kind of wish I had run it on stream, but I'm trying to get through as much a Song of Waves and Wind prior to U39 as I can and level up so that I can make sure I'm running updated content. And I also want to run the raid on stream. At some point here in the coming weeks, I'm going to have to put up a public group awareness thing on the forums and be like, yo, this Friday, noon, carry me through the raid. I'm not one for gossip, friend, but I've heard a thing or two about the kindred of the coins you might find interesting for the right price. Except Rothog shows up and is like, hey, my ears are burning. You, Stampion! Harlock wants to see you. I will take you to see her. Stop watching YouTube videos, no ads. I mean, I get that. I like YouTube. My son likes YouTube. He grew up, like I say, that is their entire media landscape can be contained within one website. And they do a little Twitch and stuff too, but not, it's YouTube is everything. Like, if you asked my 12-year-old if he wanted to watch HBO or network television or satellite TV, he would just stare at you blankly and be like, what? No. Put a tablet in front of him, he's going to YouTube and watching whatever he's watching.
Thank you,
all sorts of stuff.
Rothog.
And I like it too. What can I say? Alright, so we are speaking to Harlock. It's the matter of our hostage that brings you here, I understand. We keep our expression guarded, but Harlock's smile becomes more pronounced. Koltek prides himself upon knowing everything that transpires in the city, but he doesn't share everything with us. I have eyes of my own, and they see a great deal. Outside the Gal and the Fleet Fast, by the home of Belendar and Meshka in my own upper ward, among the alleys of the safe Sail Haven, your group has not remained hidden to my eyes, Stampion, and I know why you've come to my city. Let's head over to the fountain in my courtyard and speak further. Hey, Baklagor, nice to see you here. Courtyard? No? Maybe I went to the wrong place. Go back inside here. This courtyard. I mean, it's a giganto pool of water. I don't know that I'd call it a fountain. There we go. Okay. With Rothog. Take a look at these two real quick. They look cool. Alright. You stand in the presence of one of the richest people in all of Umbar, but know this, wealth doesn't grant complete power. How many of my rivals were rich, but lacked the will to maintain control? Now their wealth is mine. The folk of the city whisper, my fortune rivals that of the dwarf lords, but their whispers are untrue. Mine's even bigger. I'm the matron of the most powerful well, I mean, okay, yeah, sure. What, are you offering to give me some? I mean, what, you know. I mean, I appreciate having cats inside of the place, but... Oink. The Kindred was my idea, inspired by the Corsair councils that once governed Umbar between the reigns of tyrants. A king or queen or steward can begin with the best of intent, but can be corrupted. In a city such as Umbar, only a council can lead effectively for the good of all. A council of leaders that would not be subservient to any outside force. During the rule of the heirs of Castamere and the Church of the All-Seeing, I asked Koltek to fashion 7 medallions in the form of large coins that could be worn as necklaces. Each was made of a different material. Koltek got the Abashal, which is something that we were commenting on earlier when we were speaking with one of our dwarvish friends who went to visit to try to learn more about that sea opal. Only days after Balakor died in Gondor, a tremendous quake rocked the city. The Temple of Sauron crumbled and fell, and I knew it was the time to act. I sent the medallions to my chief allies, and the uprising began. The Seastone Mutiny would spell the end to outside authority over Umbar. Let us speak further in my office. Okay. Azagath is a black Numenorian, a blood ally of Balakor during the Scourge's rise to power. Their friendship soured when Balakor sought to claim rulership over all of Umbar in the name of the heirs of Castamere. Azagath opened his bid, a duel was fought, and Azagath suffered defeat. He received a scar on his face, granted mercy, and banished. We didn't see him for a while. During that time, Azagath's warnings came true. I called for his aid during the Seastone Mutiny, and when he returned to the city, he did so as a hero. I didn't celebrate, though. I never fled the city, so I had no need to return a hero. Azagath became the leader of the Kindred of the Coin. And I get the sense that maybe Harlock wanted to be leader. I wouldn't be content for any to lead us if he or she held dear the interests of our city. But I think it's not so with Azagath. He has some plan of his own, a secret he keeps from the rest. I would not seek to supplant any member of the Kindred, for ours is a council and Umbar made better by it. But this, too, is strength. The Kindred itself is more important than any one person. Were Azagath to fall during your rescue of the Gondorian hostage, that would be unfortunate, but the Kindred itself would survive. Every morning, Azagath instructs some among his servants to carry empty bowls down to the docks, fill it with salt water, then carry them through the streets until they reach the bridge beyond the Fleet Fest. The guards let him do it. Once inside, they fill the fountains within the citadel with the salt water. At midnight, the fountains are emptied. No one pays attention to the servants who carry the water. Might be a good way to go.
Be gone now.
Alright, so we need to find the water carriers, and they're off to the south quite a bit. Trying to look at how best to reach them. Alright. So I've been sticking to the story here, is what I've been doing. So I have not really done a lot of kind of landscape questing or non-epic questing. So what I'm going to do when I finish the current state of the Song of Waves and Wind here is go back and get to 150 just doing questing and what have you. Maybe actually some of those delvings too that released with update 39 should get me to where I need to be fairly quickly, I might think. But just to say it, you can get to 146 without doing any of the non-story-based questing here in Umbar. And I'm just trying to make sure I know where I'm going. All right.
We have our own tasks to complete, stranger, and have no time to speak with such as
You
you.
need any help? What?
Forgive Einat her distrust, stranger. But we have reason to be wary.
We bring seawater through the city, and every night those fountains are emptied to await our return the next morning. It sucks in terms of the amount of work it takes, and there are fewer of us than there used to be. Saduk was there to help, but is no longer. We don't know where he's gone. Alright, so we gotta prove that we can carry water without spilling any. I mean, you know. Where am I going? Okay. Yes, Umbar does look very nice. We are aware that, and you're seeing this a little bit on stream here as well, we're aware that some additional game performance tweaking needs to be done in some of this space. We've got a task open where we're kind of looking into what we can do to make improvements there. I think it has to do, you know, Umbar is full of people, and it looks cool. But it also seems pretty likely that the number of people is perhaps a little too dense, and it's causing some game performance issues. So there are some things we might be able to do to improve that without having to get rid of everybody. Not that we'd get rid of everybody, but, you know, thinning the ranks, as it were.
You did well
So
enough,
I
stranger.
myself have not noticed a significant decrease in game performance outside of some of these specific areas of Umbar that need attention in the past couple of weeks myself. But then I have a pretty strong internet connection and a pretty good computer, and historically have not had a lot of sensitivity to that sort of thing. But my experience means nothing compared to your experience. And ultimately, you know, it's an individual thing, so whether I'm experiencing lag or not really has no bearing on whether or not you are. Will the raid instances be released on the Thursday or on the Wednesday as well? Thursday being reset day. I can go back and ask the team about that, Sermon Bane, but my belief is that the raid... Well, let me double check. I don't have a note that the raid doesn't come on Wednesdays, so... I believe all of it, the raid and instances, will arrive on Wednesday. Right, you know, like I just said, Schmooze, my personal experience has really no bearing on your ability to discern lag in the game client, and it may have nothing to do with your computer or internet. You did well enough. You carry water.
We have a long way to carry these bowls of seawater.
Am
Then
I?
let us begin, stranger. We will bring you with us into the citadel.
I don't have
That is
any
enough
kind of
left for
immediate
now.
news about
Pick
game
up the water
performance.
bowl
We're
again
working to
and
get
cross
update
the
39
bridge.
out the door. We've done extensive game performance work for a couple of years now, and that work will continue. It would be lovely if I could announce some Friday that we've solved lag, but that's just not going to happen. So. But we have been doing targeted improvements that we can measure for a couple of years now, and we do have engineers who are tasked with looking into various aspects of the game, and they are continuing to do so. We have people actively working on game performance pretty much all the time, but currently. And you'll see any changes to that in our release notes. And specifically the release notes. And then ultimately, you'll see it in game as the goal. At some point. But we'll never be in a place where there's no lag. I think that that would be a lovely thing to be able to do, but it's also just not realistic. This is the fountain, isn't it? Is it this one? It's this one, right? No? Okay. Isn't it either, huh? To make Top Gear 150, would you say focus on raids, crafting, both, or discover? Well, I'm sure there are good player guides related to itemization that have far more insight than I can provide. But I would say in general, it's probably a mix of all of it. If you're really going for the bleeding edge stuff, you're going to need crafted gear and raid gear and maybe even a little bit of instance gear and things like that. we've talked quite a bit about how both crafting, well, Orion in particular has talked quite a bit about how both crafted items, delving rewards, and other sources of loot compare within the ecosystem of raiding and landscape and instances and story and all the rest related to power level. And the idea is to often offer statistically equivalent itemization in raids and outside of raids at the same time. So I think that there is not a singular source of best in slot gear, although at any given time a particular piece of content will fulfill that role.
I'm bored.
Try not to think about it, Thorongil.
I tried that.
We may not need to keep you for much longer, young master. Nakasi should have consulted with me before she brought you here.
It was a good idea, Azagath. He makes a valuable hostage, does he not?
Not as valuable as the one Koltek has arranged.
We will see. I do not trust the Corsair he chose for this.
Yeah, I'm just sitting here being water bearer. Never mind
Lord
me.
Azagath, your invited guest has arrived. The Corsair Jajax and his prisoner, Queen Arwen of Gondor.
Greetings to you, noble Asagath. I have brought you the Queen, as I promised. Your deeds exceed your reputation, George.
You hear in the gaming space fairly regularly
Because I
that,
did not
oh, well, the
believe you
game
could
should
do
just
this.
update, replace its game engine.
It was not
In my
easy.
experience, replacing
Keep
a
that
game
in mind
engine
as we
is,
discuss my reward.
with some exceptions, based on the
Is it
what you're using
customary
to
for your
build the game.
prisoners to retain their belongings?
the equivalent of making a new game. So you wouldn't be
This
so
is
much
only
replacing
water.
Locher's
Oh,
game
what if
engine as you
Queen
would be building a
Arwen
new
had
game
ever-
with a different game engine.
Water
They're not something you can
has
plug out and
power.
plug in.
Belondo, take it from her.
Maybe if you've built something in Unity and you're updating to a different version of Unity or something, but that's not how our game's made.
of Gondor will have their vengeance upon you.
This is not Queen Arwen. Who are you?
Hey, listen. There has clearly been some mistake.
We didn't take Arwen.
The mistake was believing you could succeed in this deception, Jorjax.
Uh-oh.
You thought a jar of river water could unravel my sorceries. The rivers of Gondor have no power here, foolish ones.
Busted.
My strength comes from the sea. And the sea is stronger than any river. My friend, I think we might have need of you after all.
Yeah, thanks for that, Jajax. I thought something was out of place. I see it was you, Stampion. You've come a long distance to be here. It's curious none of my fellows thought to mention your presence to me. I don't think you would have escaped Koltek's notice, or Harlock's spies. Perhaps they tire of our continued association? I've experienced such disillusion before. Some went willingly to the knife, but only later learned what it meant. Yo, you want to fight?
No, I will not fight you. You are a close friend of the King of Gondor.
Oh yeah, we go way back.
You will be a better hostage than either of these others.
What should we do with Thorongil?
Kill him. We have no further use for him.
No.
Out of my way.
He is just a child, Nikasi.
He is a Gondorian child, Balandur. What is that?
The fountain.
Oh, you have forgotten something important, Osagard. In the end, every river leads to the sea.
Ooh.
You are not beyond our reach, Osagard Sea Shadow.
Yoink. Yeet. The kindred of the coins have fled deeper into the citadel. Our purpose is fulfilled. Thorongil rescued. The power of the five sisters scared him. He was right to flee, and his allies beside him. Yet Roaming Star and her sisters cannot long remain this far from their homes. They've helped buy us a reprieve and freedom for the kindred's hostage, but that's all. If Azagath and his kindred remain a threat, we can't rely on the five sisters to face it. Hey, you're lucky I was here, man. For the kindred of the coins, we're only moments away from seeing you. I mean, granted, you're the one who told them about me, but I deem that I saved you from imprisonment at least, and death at most. You do well to reward me. I remind him, the kindred was oblivious to my presence until you called me out. And he goes, you can remember now. That was all old news. The important thing is great deeds were done. Prisoners rescued, and the legend of Jagex has increased. Alright, maybe next time don't get so close to battles, Thorongil.
Did you see them? The five sisters.
Is Orgulus here? Did he sail his ship to Umbar? I want to tell him about everything. I tell Thorongil Orgulus remained behind in Anphilas, but someone else did sail with me aboard the Wave Hunter as part of the rescue mission. Should have waited, man.
Our mission to Umbar is
thanks.
completed.
For both captives have been rescued. I will return with Thorongil to Anphilas as soon as it can be arranged. His father will be very pleased to learn we have triumphed. But we still have some work to do.
Has it been so long that you have forgotten the most important rule of all?
He's kind of bragging. The prince could not achieve it, nor could the king. Only a corsair could do. Only the corsair would do, and that means me. It's good to be owed favors by kings and princes, and I shall be well rewarded for my part in this deception. How did my brother fare? For long years, I believed I was no longer a part of the world, Stampion, and I sheltered with the Avorum and stood at a remove from all others. Arwen, though, taught me I was wrong. I have set aside my veil of mourning. It is good to be of help, no matter the danger. Don't mistake me, though. The danger of Azagath remains. I judge he is no ordinary man. I felt Sauron's mark upon him. I've not had time yet to rest and speak with my brother, for we have gone from one danger to another. I look forward to hearing of Cardin's adventures. It would seem evil has taken root within the membership of the Kindred of the Coins. We're not done yet.
During the sea voyage that brought us to Umbar, I did what I could to keep Thorongil out of trouble. It was not easy.
I have listened to the account of what transpired within the Citadel, and my mind is clear.
Bellandor is not a monster. What evil lies at the heart of the Kindred, my old friend is not the cause. He would have prevented Nakasi from slaying their young hostage, I'm sure. Azageth and the web he's woven has my friend caught, just as I was enmeshed by the commands of the steward Denethor. Bellandor is not beyond saving. Of this, I am certain.
My brother always has a plan or a scheme in mind. Do you think he had this planned all along?
Yeah, my bro rocks, man. Alright, let's speak
I
to
have
Gimli and
spoken with the
Legolas.
others, and I still do not understand one thing.
If the Corsair Jajax arranged with Koltek to gain access to the Citadel with the prisoner, why did the Timomir not accompany Jajax inside? If he thought the prisoner was truly Queen Arwen, would he not want to be present at the Kindred's triumph? Unless Koltek knew Jajax had not actually captured Arwen. But why would he help us rescue Thorongil? Is he secretly working against Azagath's aims? I tell Gimli my audience with Harlock has shown me the Kindred of the Coins may not be as united in their purpose as it seems. That is why the King Under the Mountain is so important. I keep thinking about it. Koltek's place in all this makes my head hurt.
I have listened to the account of what transpired within the Citadel of Wings.
Azagath is no mere man. Nimrodel says she felt the mark of Sauron upon him. Do you think he may be one of the Gurzul? If so, he has kept his nature hidden from the others of the Kindred and Umbari people. Nakasi Wave Reaper spoke to you of the Song of Waves and Wind before she left Gondor, and I understand Harlock mentioned it when you met with her, but she knew little more than its name. Can it be the Song of Waves and Wind has as its foundation some evil from Mordor? If that's so, we can't leave Azagath to make use of it. Our work here is not yet done.
It is done. But now, is it not?
I mean,
carried out the commands of
sorry,
King
man.
Elessar.
K-Bar's going to have to make a new home for himself in the world. This is where he came back. They don't like him anymore. Thank you for bringing me on the trip. The story continues in future updates. All right.
Your mission has concluded.
Well,
and
we
I
don't
am
have
pleased
time
it
to
has
run
ended
this
happily.
today, but we have an interlude. The Ghost returns, and this is kind of a cool one from what I understand, so perhaps we'll save this for next week, and I'll do some leveling up, but we'll see. The physical hurt of the wound I suffered outside Helm's Deep pained me greatly, even as it would in time be healed by Leafshade's ministrations. But the pain of loss, not knowing what befell my friends, remained. My heart dwelled in the uncertainty of what might be going on. Now that Thorongil has been rescued, will you take one last journey with me? Alright, and I'm going to save this for later. Ghost Returns is short. Still, we're at the end of the show here, and so I think we're going to wrap it up for this week. Hopefully I can do some leveling off camera. We do have that VIP XP, or VIP event boost, and some good leveling to be had. So, thank you for watching Court of the Rings on twitch.tv/LotraStream. These shows are archived afterward on YouTube, and I'll be back next Friday at noon Eastern with more, presumably with the release of Update 39 next week. Have fun, everyone. Hope you have a great Lotra weekend. Talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.